What up, people? Push While Black here with Push While Black Sports. This will be real quick because there's nothing to say really. I mean, it's 11:30 here. They had a 45-minute lightning delay. Glennon turned the ball over 4 times. They don't want to throw the ball down the field. You know, it got so bad. They got so predictable. At one point in the game, they had Green Bay put both their safeties they put both their safeties in the box. So it was like it was like 8 man in the box, plus they played their safeties in. They didn't even play their safeties like out. They weren't afraid of them throwing the ball down the field because they don't throw the ball down the field. And if you're gonna do the whole dink and dunk slow ball bit, then take care of the ball. Like, Glennon can't move. Like Tony was saying the whole game, Tony Romo was saying the whole game, throw the ball down the field, test down the field. He's saying that because if you look at like Tony Romo, like, and he brought up the fact that Glennon has no help, right? But you gotta at least try, because he's looking at it from a quarterback standpoint to where he's made receivers. Like, he's turned no-name receivers into household names. And there were drops. And Glennon, there was a couple of drops. Like, there was one drop in the end zone that Bellamy had. And Bellamy ended up having some decent catches, in the middle of the field, because that's all they do. They throw the ball. Like, Kendall Wright made an appearance. They actually threw the ball to him today, and they threw the ball to Bellamy, and they threw the ball to Miller, which Bellamy and Miller didn't get a lot of catches or get a lot of balls thrown to him last game. So it's good to see that Kendall Wright was available and made some plays. He was your leading receiver with 50-something yards. Danny Trevathan. See, this is the thing, and this is probably gonna be a more ranty vlog. Danny Trevathan, you can't do that. See, every week now, there's a play where, because the Bears have to play perfect defensively, because offensively they're scared. They don't want to test the ball down the field at all. You know what I'm saying? Glennon can't move. Like, it's nice to say they should run bootlegs, they should do rollouts, whatever, but when you have a quarterback that can't move, and they have to do really, really quick passes, which Glennon can't do because his release is long. He can throw a pretty ball when when he has pressure and he can see and he knows that the route is going to be completed. But as far as quickness, as far as moving, as far as anything like that, there's nothing there. There's no moving. There's no his progressions. He reads his progressions. The time has to be perfect for him to read through all his progressions. He had 2 fumbles. There were 2 fumbles and 2 interceptions. One of the interceptions, he overthrew the guy, and the guy he just overthrew the guy. He overthrew the guy right to Green Bay, right? That being said, going back to my Danny Trevathan point, there's always a play with the Bears where something stupid happens, where you can't do that. There's penalties. We're not even talking about like the every game penalties that they do, because they always do, holding here, holding there. There's offsides, just young team penalties, right? But Danny Trevathan, he was going down, and you do a helmet-to-helmet hit right in the jaw. Like, what are you doing? That's a frustration penalty right there. So, I don't know, man. Like, everybody's talking about putting Mitch Trubisky in, and after this game, and letting them play against who we have next? Minnesota. Minnesota's defense is just as good, if not better, than Green Bay's. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even know if they're gonna put him in or not, because really, I mean, their defense is just like the Bears. They have a rush. Bears have a rush. Minnesota has a rush. So, are we gonna put him in now, or is there gonna be a situation where they don't want to put him in because of the rush? Because Minnesota has a rush just like the Bears. Mr. Trubisky is gonna get, if they do put him in, Mr. Trubisky is gonna get popped. Because if they're scared, then putting Mr. Trubisky in like before next week is because they don't want to get him hurt, or they don't want to get him popped or anything, or they don't want him to lose confidence. That's gonna happen in Minnesota. Minnesota has a good defense too, so next week will be the actual week to where, like, if he doesn't start this coming week, this Sunday, then or next Sunday rather, if he doesn't start against Minnesota, then this is gonna be a long season, because they pretty much said that Glennon is gonna be the starting quarterback for this year, because this game was, and if you look at statistically, he threw for 218 yards. And see, Glennon is gonna, I said it during the Tampa Bay game, he's on pace to throw for 4,000 yards. Actually, he's on pace to throw for over 3,000 yards this season, because the last game he only threw for like he didn't throw very much. He only threw for like 100 yards. Okay, so he's on pace to almost throw for 4,000 yards, just because of the way the yards after catch with the yards after catch and the volume of throws that he throws, he's gonna average like 200 yards, 150 yards. There's one of the games that the Atlanta game, he threw for 300 yards. So, you know, like, they might as well, if Trubisky doesn't start this next game against Minnesota, Glennon's going to start, and then they're just going to say Mr. Trubisky isn't ready, and they're just going to have him sit this year, and they're going to try to develop Glennon, which I don't see the point, because Glennon's not the future. If Glennon, like, this is the thing. If Glennon was if you're really gonna try to develop Glennon, like if they scouted Glennon, if Pace scouted Glennon, and they wanted Glennon to be that dude for the starting quarterback. If Ryan Pace started Glennon and he scouted him and wanted him to be the Bears quarterback, then the draft night trade makes no sense, because this entire quarterback draft was projects. All of them were. Patrick Mahomes, project. Mr. Trubisky, project. Mr. Trubisky was the furthest project of all of them, just on snaps. The best quarterback, the best pro quarterback in this past draft was Deshaun Watson, and everybody said it. And everybody was like, he has them because of snaps and because of experience. And they put him out there. Bill O'Brien put him out there in Houston, and he's had some good games. He's had some bad games. But they letting him out there, and they letting him get reps. Okay? Patrick Mahomes is more talented than Alex Smith. Okay? Alex Smith is playing his butt off for Kansas City. Okay? He's probably going to have one of his best years. Deshaun Kaiser won the job in Cleveland. Now, I don't know how good of an example that is, because Cleveland is bad, but heck, the Bears are just as bad. And if you're telling me that Mitch Trubisky is the future and he's proven himself to be number 2, then why not? There's no reason to have Glennon out there if he's not going to protect the ball. Because see what happened, the reason why he won the job in training camp is because everybody was saying how good he was protecting the damn ball. And he's not protecting the ball. He can't move. When he gets hit, he fumbles the ball. It like he throws interceptions because he's basically a one-read quarterback. Like, he has to have perfect timing to go through all his progressions. If you're basically going to have a one-read quarterback and then he's going to check down every damn play, then put the kid in. But I'm going to see this next coming week if they put Mitch Trubisky in. Because this is ridiculous. What is he not doing? This is what I want to know from anybody. What is Mitch Trubisky not doing in the room as far as getting ready and a preparation for him not to start? Or is this an arbitrary rule that they're just going to have where Trubisky's not going to play for a year? Trubisky's not going to play for a year. If he's that raw of a talent, then you shouldn't have traded the draft picks you did to get him. Because you could have drafted another safety. You could have drafted another wide receiver. You know what I'm saying? Like, Cameron Meredith, we found Cameron Meredith. That wasn't like that wasn't a receiver that like a number 1 pick receiver. You figured out that Cameron Meredith can play. You figured out that Kevin White they actually drafted. But Meredith, they figured out that they can play. Kendall Wright, he's probably going to end up being your main receiver, and they can develop one of these receivers to catch the ball. Or, Thompson is your speedster, you're not throwing to him. Bellamy is a speedster, I guess, but you can't stretch him down the field, because if you stretch him down the field, he can't catch the ball. He's only effective when he's when he's up the middle, and he's barely effective when he goes up the middle. When you stretch him down the field, he can't catch. And they targeted him, not in targeted like hit, but Lennon threw a triple. Bellamy was triple covered. You throw into triple coverage. Bellamy, mind you, it was a good throw because it got right there. But that's a hard catch to ask your receiver who can't catch the ball that much anyway to catch. You got it to him in triple coverage. He doesn't have good hands. He makes the catch, but they slap the ball out of his hand. Okay, so if you're going to do that, if Glennon's going to do stuff like that, put the kid in. Why are we developing 2 quarterbacks then? That doesn't make any sense at all. I don't know, man. Like, I didn't expect Green Bay to win. You know what I'm saying? I really didn't. I actually expected this to happen. But there's so many bad things in this game that it was just boring. And then as soon as it got 14-0, it was like, okay, this is going to be hard. Because they don't know the offense is just bad. Jordan Howard's going to end up getting himself hurt, like, bad. Tariq Cohen is going to... the best play for Tariq Cohen, really, the best way to get Tariq Cohen involved is to get him in space. They used to put him... There were a couple of looks in the first game where they would put him in the slot. That's your best bet with him because he can make people miss. But they're having him basically be a third down back, and they're running him in between the tackles. One day he's gonna get popped, and then there's gonna be Cunningham, and Cunningham's doing a pretty decent job. But they gotta figure out how to do something down the field. Or at least have a receiver that can run, that can do good yards after catch. Get some of these guys. Get Bellamy, because Bellamy's not a stretch receiver. Get Bellamy to where he's comfortable catching the ball and have him in space so they can at least get some yards. Because this is ridiculous. And I honestly think because you're gonna end up hurting, your prize free agent that you found, because he can't move. And I want to say this before I close. Anybody that says that, because this is a stupid narrative that I'm hearing from a lot of Bears media here. All right. Anybody that says that, and it goes back to what I was saying earlier about if Trubisky's that raw, then you shouldn't have traded up to get him, and you shouldn't have wasted, giving up 2 picks to get him, because in the draft he was the biggest project. Him and Deshaun Kaiser was the biggest project. I'm looking at what Deshaun Kaiser is doing in Cleveland, and they're just letting him go out there and letting him do what he does. You might as well let Mitch Trubisky do this. Here's the thing. You're comparing him to you. People are saying, I don't want him to be David Carr. Okay? David Carr had no running game, no offensive line at all, and got sacked crazy and was a statue, just like Glennon is, and got sacked a bunch of times. Couldn't move. And he wasn't a project. He was ready when playing for Houston. Okay? If you're going to give me that narrative, then explain guys like Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson was a project. He was not expected to, because anybody that gets drafted in the 3rd round like that he was a 5th-year starter. He was a transfer. He's a 5th-year starter. He had 1 good season of note, and Pete Carroll drafted him. And Pete Carroll drafted him as a project, and he won the job in training camp. Gave them the best chance to win. Beat out it wasn't Charlie Fry, it was the Green Bay quarterback. I forget that guy's name. But anyway, he beats out that guy. And that guy was basically like the Bears situation here. He was a backup for Green Bay. He had some really good decency. Matt Flynn got signed to Seattle after some pretty decent showings in Green Bay in relief, and Russell Wilson beat him out. And Russell Wilson won a Super Bowl, and Russell Wilson is a starter. Is Russell Wilson the best QB out there? No, but he's functional. You can tell Glennon doesn't know. It's not that he's not a bad quarterback. He's okay. But everything has to be perfect for him to be okay. The margin of error for him to be okay or to be functional is so minimal that it's not even worth having him out there, man. So I want to know what Mr. Trubisky is doing to where he's not ready to play. Because Glennon isn't ready to play either. And he's going to get him. Then the way this line is, and the way they're not even like testing him, they're not even like testing his arm. The defenses are just, I'm going to put 8 in the box and I'm going to put my safeties, in, and we're not even going to we're not even going to challenge to see if he'll throw us down the field or not. Like, that was ridiculous, man. Everybody was bunched in. That's how not afraid they were with Glennon. And I don't know. Just put the kid in, man. Like, I don't even want to go down all the stats, man, because it's not even worth it. They suck. Nobody, like, Cohen sucked. Howard, they keyed in him. You know what I'm saying? Kendall Wright had like 57 yards, and that was your best receiver. Come on, man. And everybody had like 50 yards here, 40 yards here. The receivers had like 50 yards here, 40 yards here, 50 yards here, 30 yards here, 26 yards here. And Glennon had like 200 yards and a touchdown, and 2 fumbles and an interception. Like, you can't even, like, he's not even a good fantasy QB. because you don't know what type of game you're gonna have from him, because he'll fumble the ball at least once. It's not even a fun fumble where he's trying to get away from anything. He stays in the pocket, he gets hit, he drops the ball. And then he overthrows somebody because basically it's one read. He'll stare down a receiver, he'll overthrow, or he'll stare down a receiver and then the safety or the linebacker will jump the route in front of the receiver, grab the ball, run, and it's a pick six. If we're going to do that, then put the kid in, man. There's no reason to have Glennon out there anymore now. So if I don't see Mitch Trubisky in Minnesota in a dome, because I think they're going to be in Minnesota in the dome, right? If I don't see Mitch Trubisky in the Minnesota game, then it's going to be a long season. And my prediction of them winning 6 games is going to go down to maybe 3. Maybe everybody was right about Chicago winning 3 games, because this is ridiculous. Anyway, Push a Wild Blackout. This is more of a rant, a post-game rant than the post-game breakdown of what happened, because there's really nothing to break down. Lennon turned the ball over 4 times, couldn't throw the ball down the field. Aaron Rodgers didn't even have to do anything. Aaron Rodgers played well, but statistically, Glennon outpassed Aaron Rodgers. But when you have the field position that we gifted them off of the 2 turnovers, that they got from the Bears, he got 4 touchdowns and 197 yards. Aaron Rodgers didn't even really have to do much. Anyway, I'm done. I'm tired of ranting. I'll let y'all next week, or if I feel like doing something else, then I'll do something else. I'm working on the NBA preview. It's coming. It'll probably be sometime Saturday. But until then, I'll holler at y'all later. Peace.